Hey everyone. You know that feeling when you walk into a forest and everything just seems to go quiet and still? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on a hidden world, this invisible network that's absolutely buzzing with life right under our feet. Honestly, it's a discovery that's going to completely change the way you see the woods.
So, just picture it for a second. You're out on a trail, you hear the birds, the wind rustling the leaves, and every tree looks like it's just standing there on its own. But what if I told you that beneath all that quiet, there's a constant, super fast conversation happening all around you?
Yeah, you heard that right. Trees are talking. They're sharing resources, they're warning each other about danger, and they're supporting their young, all through this kind of biological superhighway. And trust me, once you see how it works, a walk in the woods will never be the same again.
Okay, so our journey here really starts by challenging an old idea. You know, we're often taught that nature is this tough battleground, where every single plant is out for itself, fighting for a little bit of sunlight and water.
But what scientists are finding is that in a lot of healthy forests, the real secret sauce isn't competition at all. It's this massive system-wide cooperation. The whole forest acts less like a bunch of individuals and, more like one big connected community.
So, how in the world do they do it? How does an entire forest stay in touch? Well, it turns out that nature basically invented its own version of the internet millions of years before we ever did.
Now, the scientific name is a bit of a mouthful, a mycorrhizal network. But researchers came up with a way better name for it, the Wood Wide Web. And that's exactly what it is. It's a living internet made of countless tiny fungal threads, they're called hyphae, that link up the root systems of different trees, sometimes stretching across the entire forest floor. And the whole system runs on this really simple, brilliant partnership. The trees, they do their thing, making sugar from sunlight. Then they share some of that energy with the fungi. And in return, the fungi act like these tiny little miners, digging deep into the soil and bringing back all the essential water and nutrients that the tree roots just can't get to on their own. It's a perfect win-win.
And we're not just talking about a connection between a couple of neighbors here. This network is huge. It can link up dozens, even hundreds of trees, from the oldest giants all the way down to the tiniest little saplings. It's incredible.
And this incredible network leads us to one of its most amazing functions, all centered around what scientists have nicknamed the mother tree.
So think about the classic problem on the forest floor. You've got these tall, established trees soaking up all the sun, right? They're making way more sugar than they actually need. But down below, the little saplings are stuck in the shade and they're really struggling to get by. In a world of pure competition, well, that would be the end of their story.
But this is where that network just changes everything. Researchers discovered that these huge central trees, the mother trees, they act like hubs. They take all their extra carbon and nutrients and pump it into the wood wide web, sending it directly to their own seedlings and other struggling little trees around them. They are literally feeding the next generation.
This just shows you something so profound, doesn't it? It's not just some random mechanical process. It's a system that's actively nurturing its own future. There's this quiet kindness that's woven into the very fabric of the forest.
But sharing food is only half the story. The Wood Wide Web also works as a super effective, forest-wide alarm system.
So, get this. Imagine a tree gets attacked by a swarm of hungry bugs. It doesn't just sit there and take it. Instead, it sends out a chemical SOS, this distress signal that travels right through that fungal network.
You can think of it just like an emergency alert or a group text message. The trees nearby get this signal and they can start pumping out defensive chemicals in their leaves before the bugs even arrive. They get a heads up to prepare for a fight.
So when you put all of these pieces together, the resource sharing, the nurturing, the warning systems, you start to realize you're not just looking at a bunch of trees. You're looking at something more like a civilization.
Let's try thinking about the forest like it's a bustling city. The individual trees, they're the buildings. That fungal network is like all the roads, the internet cables, and the power lines that connect everybody. The economy runs on trading sugars and nutrients, and there's even a city-wide alarm system to warn everyone about danger. It's this perfectly integrated living system.
And this really brings us to the big takeaway here. The forest teaches us that being resilient isn't just about individual strength. It actually comes from connection. By helping its weakest members, the entire forest becomes healthier and stronger as a whole.
So the next time you're out there, just stop for a second. Stand still and remember that the ground under your boots isn't just dirt. It's one of the oldest, most sophisticated communication networks on the planet, just humming with life and cooperation.
So this hidden world really shows us a pretty profound truth. Nature is always connecting, always communicating, and it kind of leaves us with a question, right? If an entire forest can thrive by sharing and supporting all of its members, what can we learn from that about the power of connection in our own lives and our own communities?